Today, we will be traveling down one of the darkest YouTube icebergs. If you don't know about this iceberg trend, basically what it is you start from the very top of an iceberg with some pretty simple subjects. The farther you go down, the darker and darker these things get. And by the time you're down to the very bottom, or the abyss, things are just not normal. Not okay, unexplainable, and I guess you'll just find out for yourself, if you can make it down that far. Here on YouTube, there are about 30,000 hours of newly uploaded content per hour. With that much footage getting uploaded directly to YouTube, it is very difficult to monitor every single file that is on their system. And you might be wondering what happens when things do get through the cracks. Because things do get past YouTube's eyes, things that should not be on the platform or on the internet. This YouTube iceberg contains some of the scariest and darkest events here on YouTube. These things may be fake and they may be real, but ultimately it's up to you to decide. All of these topics will have a dedicated video, some do already, so go ahead and subscribe if you enjoy this so far. And without any further ado, let's start at the very beginning of this YouTube iceberg. And we will begin in the sky, right before the iceberg even begins. YouTube Easter eggs. Fitting since this is a YouTube video and all, but YouTube's actually released a ton of Easter eggs on its platform. If you don't know what Easter eggs are, they're basically just fun little things that you could find here on YouTube. Things that may have certain effects thrown at them, things like different fonts, and so on. Some of the all-time favorites have included the Beam Me Up Scotty reference, a rainbow. There's one mode where you could actually play the snake game on a YouTube video. There are a ton of Easter eggs here on YouTube, or at least there used to be. The only slightly creepy thing about this topic is that they almost have all been taken down. Google, aka YouTube, has removed almost every single Easter egg that was originally on YouTube. Why they're doing this? We have no idea, because there's really no reason to get rid of these things. Spam bots. If you've been on YouTube anytime recently, you would have probably come across one of these bots. From a first glance, they're just annoying and not that scary, but in reality, these bots are monsters. These are people that are trying to steal your identity, your money, they're trying to hack your YouTube channel, they're trying to take your belongings from you. All from YouTube, a website. Wanna be friends is probably the most iconic YouTube spam bot comment ever. You would see this comment everywhere. Anywhere you went, you would always find this, especially if it was a new video. Supposedly, the person that would do this would hack people's accounts. Somehow interacting with this YouTube bot called TrapTown would leave you vulnerable to getting your YouTube channel hacked. If you're anything like me, you don't want your channel to get hacked, because some people have spent years and portions of their life creating and building these channels. And what if you did all of that just for some YouTube spam bot to steal it? Logan, Calls, Tom, these are all bots that were on YouTube. They were probably the biggest team of YouTube bots, changing their identity constantly as people like me and Timeworks exposed them. These people were in a group and they had a Discord where you could actually spy on them and see what was going on behind the scenes. And let's just say, I got a lot of information from their Discord. So much that I had to make an entire video just on these guys. And then we had the crypto bots. With the explosion of Dogecoin, many people were flooding to the YouTube comments looking for advice. But the crypto bots took advantage of that, hoping that you would get in contact with them. They would mislead you into thinking that they were the YouTuber, when in reality, they just want your money and who knows what. I actually went along this entire scam, and yeah, they did try to steal my identity. This is why the YouTube comment section can be pretty scary. Throughout this video, you may find me using code words to avoid YouTube demonetization. So, on that note, saucy bots. I think you guys could kind of get what I'm talking about here, but these were YouTube bots with very revealing profile pictures. These bots would try to get you to click on the revealing profile picture to get you onto their website so that they could possibly steal your identity and money. 301 views. It's a video going over why YouTube videos used to freeze at 301 views. The video was basically just going on and on about how this is common and it was YouTube just verifying that your views were real. Where this video gets really odd is that the video itself has almost 10 million likes, but 301 views. The video itself froze at 301 and has been frozen for a very, very long time. Now this is not normal at all for YouTube videos. They do unfreeze. So why is it that this video is still stuck? The only real way to explain this one is that it must be one of those YouTube Easter eggs that I was talking about before. Explanation mark, question mark. This is a video with millions of views, yet you can't search for it. And what I mean by this is if you type in those characters into your YouTube bar, you cannot find this video. It is something that can only get recommended to you, yet it has 17 million views. Some people say that YouTube is controlling it, that it is some YouTube experiment, but you can still find it, it's just in a different weird character. Some people think that it is in some Japanese font that makes it impossible for us to search it with American keyboards. And this really ties into the next part, the no-name YouTuber. There's a YouTuber out there, kind of like what the title says, has no name, but people would call him Angel. Similar to the same previous issue, nearly 1 million people subscribe to this YouTube channel, yet you can't search for him. You have to get suggested his content. It's not stuff that you could just find. After all, he has no name. These are all subs from YouTube recommending his content. And this also makes me wonder, could this just be another YouTube experiment? Before you get too far out on this conspiracy theory, he does have a lot of YouTube polls, and some of these YouTube polls are getting millions of votes. He's taking advantage of the YouTube polls feature, which is actually getting more traction than most videos do now. After all, he does have the most voted on poll, so I guess it's up for you to decide if he's a YouTube experiment or just some normal person. YouTube apocalypse. This one hits close to home. This is something that has directly affected my own channel. If you guys don't know what a YouTube adpocalypse even means, it's basically when YouTube advertisers decide that something so horrific has happened on the YouTube website that they want to step away momentarily until YouTube figures something else out. One example would be Logan Paul in The Forest. I think you guys know what I mean by that, but yeah, it was bad. And then we also had PewDiePie on the bridge. Yellow profanity, and this also started an entire YouTube adpocalypse where advertisers stopped wanting to show their ads, thus costing the creators on YouTube money, and lots of it. Then there's this guy, Matt. He tried to get people to mass spam advertisers to basically create an adpocalypse on purpose. Now Matt had his reasons to do this, and he was disgusted with what YouTube was allowing, but this lowered the CPM of many YouTubers. That basically just means it lowered their wages. But if you go a step further, some people would say, could this all just be on purpose to allow YouTube to keep more money in its pocket? Me at the zoo. This is the first video on YouTube, and some would argue otherwise, but for now, let's just say it is. I don't think I need to explain this video, but it's a person named Jod who just so happens to be one of the co-founders of YouTube. And surprisingly, this high-profile YouTube channel has been hacked time after time. You would think that a video like this is nothing but wholesome, but in reality, there is a dark war in binary. People are trying to hack this account constantly, trying to benefit from it. They would put links in the description, trying to plug their own stuff. They would try and get you to click on websites, and even teased a second me at the zoo. But from our knowledge, it definitely was not Jod. But why is it that such a high-profile account from such an important person could just get hacked time and time again on its own platform? I don't know about you, but it seems kind of weird. You made it through this guy, but now we're falling down onto the very top of the iceberg. Don't worry, there's still some light here, but pretty soon you'll be below the surface of the frigid water, and it'll be getting darker and darker, and by the time you know it, it'll be pitch black. Nursery rhyme channels. Seems pretty innocent, right? Something that you'd show a little kid. Something to distract them while you're working. Something that you find on YouTube. Normally, these nursery rhyme channels are fine. They're geared towards kids, and sometimes these things that are made for kids can actually be really creepy for adults. There are many terrifying nursery rhyme channels. This is just one of them, and this isn't even as creepy as it gets. There are also YouTube creators that make parodies of these YouTube cartoons that are actually oddly violent and terrifying. Now these are things that YouTube may recommend to a kid after they're watching something like Baby Shark. If you go down this rabbit hole, you will eventually end up in a terrifying fake nursery rhyme video. Not too sure what the audience that this channel is targeting, but it's terrifying regardless. Kids are seeing this, and that is the problem. It is feeding kids darkness. QT Perk. Now this is just another spam bot, but it's a little bit different, which is why it has its own special slot further down. It was probably the worst spam bot. No one has talked about this channel. I am the only person to have talked about them. Somehow no one else has caught on to their dark ways, or maybe they just didn't care enough to expose them. But you go down a very dark tunnel when you talk about this channel. Found this YouTube channel from the Logan/Calls spam bots. This person was always in the other channel tab. When I came across his channel, it just looked like some Fortnite YouTuber, Zarby to be exact. And well, this YouTuber got terminated a few years back, so he made a new YouTube channel. QT Perk, known as a different name at the time, took advantage of this and started his new channel, basically becoming the imposter of Zarby. He would upload the exact same videos as Zarby, he would just download them and upload them. They looked identical and people couldn't tell who was who. This is very dark stuff. The problem is Zarby's audience doesn't know who is who, and it's very bad for someone who's trying to restart a channel. It could end his career, and it could have already done that. But what gets even darker about this YouTube channel is that they would use tragedy for views. With the passing of several celebrities in the past few years, he would upload videos with content somehow involving their tragic downfall. The things people do for views on this platform is pretty disgusting. Don't hug me, I'm scared. This one's pretty simple. It's just a cartoon. It gets a little violent and has some dark realities in it. The characters may be funny, but to most people they look very terrifying. All the characters have dark stories on how they are created, and it started on YouTube and now it's going to be turned into a whole show. This character especially creeped a lot of people out, but in reality, there's nothing too crazy about this. Emoji search. This one's pretty simple as well. If you get on YouTube and just type in an emoji and keep typing more, you'll notice that the video results are plain creepy and if not disturbing. The further you go down this rabbit hole, the closer you get to finding illegal content on YouTube. Things that definitely slip through the cracks. This is something I do not advise you to do because the content that you will see is just disturbing. Mr. Beast is a government spy. Like I was saying earlier, all these are up to you to decide if they're real or fake, but yeah. Let's take a look at this one. Basically, the conspiracy is that Mr. Beast is just part of the government. He is a government test to try and get a gauge for the world. All the analytics and the numbers and money that Mr. Beast is getting could all be for some experiment. Do you ever look at the channel and wonder, is that too perfect? How is that possible? But it's not fake, but how? Obviously, I think this is fake, but what if one of the most popular YouTubers ever was designed by the government to spy on us? FPS Russia, death. This one is a little weird, but basically FPS Russia was hunted by the Russian government. That is the conspiracy theory here, and let's see why people think this. FPS Russia had a partner named Keith Ratliff. Some would say that Keith actually helped FPS Russia get the firearms that he needed for his videos. But anyways, Mr. Ratliff had his own gun shop. And well, look at this. After his passing, FPS Russia seemed to have disappeared on YouTube, and people theorized since he talked with some Russian accent that was obviously faked, he got hunted by the Russian government and is no more. That is the theory there, believe it if you choose. Alan Tutorials. As a tutorial channel and all, you would think that it would be pretty normal, basic, and not scary. But what if I told you that that's not the case? These tutorials leave you with a very eerie feeling after watching them, like he's being followed or forced to do these videos. Just take a look.
If you can't get the chair to come up, you just leave it on the ground.
If you look at the channel, the banner and the profile picture are just nothing. If you go to the videos, they're kind of misspelled, obviously frantically typed, and just something does not seem normal. This video with 2.6 million views is how to pick up a blue chair. At one point you can hear someone slamming on the door and rushing him. Maybe it's because Alan did not do the tutorial exactly how the kidnapper wanted. Maybe there's more to this channel, or maybe it is just fake. Even if it was fake, this is very scary to watch and leaves you with a very odd feeling after you're done watching it. Congrats, you made it below the surface. Here's where things are gonna start getting dark really fast, and pretty soon we'll be into the abyss. Local 58. This is a news station, or at least supposedly. You can actually still find it here on YouTube today, and all you have to look up is Local 58. I will warn you, his videos are terrifying. One example of this would be called "You Are on the Fastest Route." It is a video of some person following their GPS onto a very secluded road. Throughout the process, the GPS starts making creepier and creepier remarks. At one point, the video cuts out. It says the destination is so far away, but the destination keeps getting closer and closer, but the car's not moving. At some point, the car is completely flipped and destroyed. You can actually see a glimpse of a monster here. The videos are very creepy, but it's just some ARG created by Chris Straub. Elsa Gate. This is a little bit older of a topic here, but it's Elsa from Frozen. People would use this highly known character to appeal towards kids, to get views and money from YouTube and all that stuff. The part that was really odd about this was how inappropriate these thumbnails and topics were. Obviously being geared towards kids, trying to get some confused or curious kid to click on their video. Kind of like the nursery rhyme channels that would recommend disturbing content to kids. And here we have it again. Seems to be a reoccurring theme. Monster School. If Elsa Gate wasn't enough for you, Monster School is even worse. They do every single thing that Elsa Gate's channel did, sometimes with even worse thumbnails, but with Minecraft characters. Somehow this topic allows them to be even more creative in how they're trying to get kids to get onto their content. The Walrus. This is a creepy video created by a cult, and the part that really just makes people uneasy is this. They put some scary music and they edit this footage to make it just seem very, very odd. In reality, they are using footage from this lady here who was just a drag queen with some sort of physical disability. I do feel bad that she was used in this way, but in reality, this person is not creepy at all. They're just a person. But these people used her in this way to make you feel scared. Salad fingers. This is something you really just have to watch to get a feel for it, but it's pretty disturbing. Basically, this guy has different characters on his fingers. He tells a little story with it, but the story has something obviously wrong with it. You can tell it's not wrote by someone who is okay in the head. Something is severely wrong. These stories get very graphic, and it's something that you would only find if you were searching for it. Not too sure why this content is here on YouTube, but once again, we are on a YouTube iceberg, talking about some of the most weird instances on YouTube. Mouse. This is a video. It basically has the classic Mickey Mouse cartoon effect to it, but someone decided to edit it just slightly more. Throughout the video, every single second you watch, it gets creepier and creepier. You'll notice that Mickey himself starts to change and the sound starts to change, and before you know it, it's just a screeching sound and Mickey looks terrifying. It's honestly really chilling to watch, especially if you're in a dark room by yourself. I definitely don't advise that. WebDriver Torso. Many people would believe that this was actually the very first YouTube channel on the platform. Maybe even before Me at the Zoo, aka Jod. This channel has 7 years worth of videos. It uploads every second from each other though, which as a human, I can definitely say that's impossible to do. It is physically impossible. Most of the videos on this channel are just there to test the platform. It's a big experiment, but sometimes you'll be going through his channel and out of his thousands and thousands of videos, 625,000 to be exact, you may end up coming across a video that looks a little something like this. Now, why they chose to upload that video instead of the normal contest, we have no idea. It could be a bot, or it could be a team of people, or maybe even not a person at all, and maybe an AI. We'll definitely hint at that more closer to the bottom of this iceberg. Well, you are now halfway down this YouTube iceberg. This is when I really started to add some of the creepier stuff that has happened here on YouTube. So if things weren't creepy yet, just wait. Try FG. This is kind of similar to the emoji search, where the more that you search this, the more creepy stuff that you find in the search results. In the very beginning, how this all started, 6 different accounts all uploaded the same exact footage. This is the video. On top of that, the footage was 6 seconds long, making this even weirder. There's really nothing to say here. Maybe someone had 6 YouTube channels and they planned it all, or maybe there's a bigger conspiracy to it all. Like I said, if you'd like to go down this rabbit hole, go for it. But just a warning, it's gonna get creepy. Walter, I got a new girlfriend. This video is pretty straightforward. It is what you see. This guy, who is obviously frantic, or an actor, is expressing how excited he is that he has a new girlfriend. The video is pretty uncomfortable to watch, and it takes a turn at the end and gets even creepier. He opens a bathroom door, and then there is a woman tied up on the floor. That is his supposed new girlfriend. This one's fake, I don't know what to tell you, it's all act, but still pretty creepy if you did not know that. Witch found in Saudi Arabia. This video is pretty scary because no one has debunked it, and it seems oddly real. The way it was recorded seems legit, and the reason this is so scary to watch is because the whole time you're just thinking to yourself that this has to be fake, right? But after you watch the video, it looks so real that it will leave you wondering whatever happened to these guys in that truck. User 666. Obviously those numbers tie into the devil, and that is why that this video is kind of creepy. This was an older YouTube bug, or hoax, whichever one you want to think of it as. Basically, this person looked up the user 666. Every time that they would refresh the page, they would not ever be able to find the user, but something got weird. Every time they refreshed it, the page got more and more demonic. Until it's to the point where things are just red, you hear terrifying music, and you can finally start to see some of the search results. It's a very scary video, but most likely fake, probably just a really old edited video. Miss Shay St. John. This was a YouTube channel that had really creepy characters that looked like dolls. The film looks to be about 20 years old, something like that. Definitely before my time, and definitely before the YouTube era, but somehow all these videos were created, but who were they created for if it really was older than YouTube? It's not like you could just make a video and get it out there on the internet, because people couldn't upload videos onto the internet yet. So was this something similar to The Ring, where they would pass around this footage to supposedly curse you? You have a few choices to believe that this was haunted footage somebody found, or it was just created by this guy Eric, like what Wikipedia says. I feel fantastic. This one is also pretty simple. It is a robot singing I feel fantastic. After watching it, something does not seem right. Kind of like all of the footage on this video, kind of makes you think, who would create something like this and why? And does the creator find this beautiful, or do they find it terrifying and just gave it to us to haunt us? With zero context, this video is terrifying. And the thing is, we have zero context. There's no background story to this besides some person created a robot that could sing about it feeling fantastic despite having any feeling at all. Mariana Mordegard Glesgorf. It is a 2-minute long video. Some people would associate this video with the user 666, but they don't really correlate at all. They're both just creepy in themselves. The video is some man standing in what it appears to be a giant explosion or fire. everything is tinted this very creepy red. The picture gives you nightmares, but it's the story behind this that really scared people. People would believe that this would actually curse you. They would say that after they saw this video, that things just were not right in their life. Unexplainable things would happen to them, like ceiling fans falling off of their ceiling, hitting them in the head, and countless other situations like so. Is this all just some conspiracy? And is it all just a bunch of people trying to scare us? Well, that's up for you to decide. After all, I'm just giving you the information that we have. There is even a story that people mailed YouTube a box of their own eyes because the video told them to. If you guys watch the video back, it obviously says nothing, but yet a group of people all heard the same thing from this video. YouTube will actually even allow some leaks of the video on YouTube just to avoid letting the full YouTube video come back out to prevent this curse from happening again. This is all just a theory, but believe what you do. This is all just a theory, and just keep that in mind. Well, welcome to the darkness. You are almost to the very bottom of this iceberg, just one level away from the abyss, where we have some of the creepiest topics to talk about. But for now, let's talk about Elisa Lam. Now, this is really real footage. This is stuff that no one has denied yet. It is about this lady named Elisa, and she's in this elevator and just appears to not be acting normal. After watching it, you would even say that she might be hiding from someone. It just looks like she is avoiding someone that is trying to chase her or spy on her, and something is just very unsettling about the way that she moves. Eventually, she just disappears off the cam. Unfortunate news comes later that she actually has been reported missing, and they found her body in a water tank on the roof. Now, this was a sealed water tank, and how her body ended up inside of there, we will probably never know truly what happened to Elisa Lam. Oliver de Sagazan. If you guys find this person's YouTube channel, you'll quickly see gore. It appears that someone is ripping their face off, but it's just makeup. This artist makes these faces just to rip them off for YouTube. His temperament and his body manners just do not make sense. It is like as if he is purposely doing this to creep you out. He does not seem okay in the head, but he continues to make these videos, knowing that the only thing they do is bring fear to people. I guess art is very subjective, but this is definitely one of the creepiest things that I have seen on the platform. Blank Room Soup. Almost every single good YouTube iceberg has this one on it, and it's for a very good reason. The video has a guy eating soup. Behind him are two characters wearing these very creepy outfits. He's crying and eating the soup as they try and comfort him, and there's obviously just something wrong with this. Now, these suits were supposedly stolen just a while before this video was shot. An artist would actually use these for TV as a fictional character, but some people supposedly stole these suits to haunt people like this poor man eating the soup. Some would say that even the remains of his wife was in that soup, that they were forcing him to eat. Somehow they blackmailed him to do so. But hate to burst your bubble, you could definitely hear some laughing throughout this video. Now, is it just some crazy person laughing at the horror, or is it actually just all staged and fake? Whale. This subject is pretty hard to have on YouTube because it's very heavily censored. YouTube will demonetize or even just flat out take down your video if it has that word in it, or the other name associated with it. Which is why the subject is so hard to talk about, because I can't say much about it. Basically, it started out as a character very similar to one of the previous stories we talked about, but the difference is the creator of this character never wanted this face to be used for what it was. It all started when some child basically was messaging this character. The character kept daring him to do more and more until eventually the child took his own. Because of this story, a lot of people faked having these accounts. They would keep messaging kids or just anyone trying to get them to complete their challenge, which ultimately ends pretty poorly for you. This did become a very big meme on YouTube, but it also had its dark side. With the very popular Discord series where you'd pretend to be him and message someone else, it became very well known, and it was actually something that we did on our channel for a while. It was something where you could post a Discord video and have 0 subscribers and get millions of views. It was a very big topic, but had its dark point. At this point, we are at the very bottom of the YouTube iceberg, or you could call it the abyss. These are some of the scariest topics on this iceberg. Happy anniversary. It is a YouTube video titled Happy Anniversary. When you watch the video, you're met with this guy who is having a mental breakdown, it looks like. He is frantically laughing into the camera, and something is just very unsettling about this video. I keep saying that, but all the footage in this is just unexplainable and creepy. Now, why is he laughing? And did he do something to his wife? Or is he just crazy? Maybe he doesn't have a wife. There's really not much to base this off of. It's a random video with no topic. Maybe he wasn't actually the creator of it. Maybe he just was some random guy laughing into a camera. We don't have the context. And maybe someone just pieced this together and said one of the creepiest titles they could in order to get you to click on the video. But it's terrifying regardless. 00390. This is a YouTube channel, but some would call him the YouTube. His channel is basically just a ton of random videos, most of the time of him driving around cities late at night, and some of the most scary cities around. The videos have 0 context, which is what makes this so creepy. This person drives by women and just videotapes them as he drives by. He says nothing, but sometimes you can even hear people yell things at him. People obviously found him creepy. That is the reaction that we got from the girls that he would drive past in video in the dark of night. Now, there is a complete theory that this person would videotape his victims that would be later kidnapped. Might just be having some fun and giving himself away on YouTube in a way that no one could ever find him or place an identity on him, because after all the people in his videos supposedly go missing. So no one would really see 00390, but if you do see them, it might be the last thing you do see. YouTube is a sentient AI. This basically is just a theory that YouTube is an all-knowing, controlling AI, artificial intelligence. It is no secret that Google is one of the biggest search engines ever. Because of this, they have so much information that it's scary. They have information about you, me, your family, everything. Anything you've ever searched up, most likely, they know. They can also control what you see or don't see. Now, this can be very powerful, especially on the political side. Could you imagine having a corporation so big that they can control the country? They know everything that you'll look up. Their AI is always looking for ways to get you onto their platform. It knows you, probably better than you do. It knows what you want to watch, and it knows when. People talk about AI and how it's so far into the future, but if you think about it, that's all YouTube is. It is one of the scariest things out there. It is not just a website. It is not just letters anymore. It has intelligence. Remember all the other topics that I talked about in this video? That could just be YouTube experiments. This could be the YouTube AI experimenting on us YouTube users. Even if this AI is controlled by the developers of YouTube, who's to say that it won't be on its own someday? Who's to say that it won't overthrow the own developers of YouTube and become more strong and powerful than the coders? After all, this AI does decide who blows up on YouTube, who becomes rich and famous, and who gets terminated. Almost every single thing on YouTube is now determined by this AI. Whether you will get monetized or not, whether your video is inappropriate or not. It's all controlled by artificial intelligence. It's not even a human. They do this because there are so many videos uploaded to YouTube every single day that a person or a team of people cannot keep up with it. So Google had no choice other than to create the most powerful AI in the universe. So there you guys go, the YouTube iceberg. I hope you guys enjoyed, and definitely look forward to individual videos on every single topic in this iceberg. So it's a very broad video, but I hope it introduces you to my channel. If you're still watching, go ahead, drop a like down below and subscribe, because apparently you enjoyed it. Anyways, I'll see you guys back on the iceberg whenever we go over our next topic.